Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers, now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching and learning in Indiana and around the world. More at education.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk.
Jails across Indiana, including this one in Bartholomew County, are struggling with overcrowding. Coming up, we'll take you inside and show you the problem. And you'll hear from sheriffs who say the state needs to step up and help.
Indiana's medical device industry generates billions for the state's economy. Cook Group announced this week it's selling off Cook Pharmica. Ahead, what we know about the company that's taking over and what it plans for the future. Linemen are sharpening their skills and competing for bragging rights.
Most of the competitors, while yes, they want to compete and they want to win, but they want to learn and see how other people do things too.
A whole new perspective on the work linemen do, plus why several competitors had to sit out this year's event. Those stories and more right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. County jails across the state don't have enough room to house all of the inmates in their facilities. Many sheriffs are using temporary beds to make room for extra people, but it's jeopardizing the safety of inmates and officers. As Barbara Brozier reports, counties say while several factors led to the problem, there's one solution: they need state funding.
We have no other place to put the people, so we've had to put makeshift beds in there to house people temporarily until we find more room or until we can ship more people out.
As Vanderburgh County Sheriff Dave Wedding gives us a tour of his jail, you can hear the frustration in his voice.
When I have a jail with 700-something inmates that's designed for 550, I don't think you need too many committees to understand we got a problem.
Wedding is running out of places to put inmates and struggling to adequately staff his jail to handle the increasing population. He received a grant that will help cover the cost of hiring additional officers, but he says that only addresses one aspect of the problem.
They have a blanket that's all. It's like a suicide-proof blanket, but we can't really do much with them because if you give them a mattress, they'll tear it apart, try to eat it, or a blanket, they'll choke themselves out.
As we walk through different cell blocks, Wedding points out several people on suicide watch, and there are a handful of inmates here suffering from severe mental illness.
When there's nowhere to go, they end up here.
Jails aren't designed to provide treatment for those people, so Wedding says they often end up reoffending and coming back here. It's one of several factors contributing to widespread overcrowding.
The jail should be mostly full of pretrial detainees because that's the purpose of a county jail.
Wedding is one of several sheriffs who testified during a legislative committee this week that's studying the issue of jail overcrowding. Specifically, legislators are examining how criminal code reform passed in 2014 is impacting jail populations. Under those changes, level 6 felons now serve their sentences in county jails instead of state prisons.
35% of all persons sitting in jail are there pre-trial on an F6.
The state saved about $4.2 million during the last fiscal year by diverting level 6 felons to county jails. That figure includes operational costs and the closure of Henryville Correctional Facility. But the state's savings is coming at a significant cost to counties. The state only pays them $35 a day for housing a level 6 felon, and counties say that doesn't begin to cover the costs associated with overcrowding.
Actually funding new officers is the issue.
Bartholomew County is housing roughly 20 level 6 felons this week. That may not sound like much, but it exacerbates the problem for a jail that's already overcrowded. Over the past few months, inmates have attacked 6 officers here.
The tensions are high in the cell blocks due to the overcrowding, running out of room.
Here in Bartholomew County, the situation is unique. They have all of this space where they could be housing inmates, but they don't have the funding.
The old wing of the jail isn't being used at all because there isn't enough money to adequately staff the area. That means 108 available beds are sitting empty, while inmates are crowded into other cell blocks. The county is pursuing an income tax increase to hire 5 additional guards.
There would be funding for more staff. We're still trying to get up to where we should be with the new part of the jail on staffing before we even think about opening the old part up.
He says sending level 6 felons back to state prisons would help, but that won't magically solve all of the problems.
We are going to bring 12 more guards here.
Back in Evansville, Sheriff Wedding is working with a bipartisan committee of sheriffs from across the state to try and come up with comprehensive solutions to the problems fueling the exploding jail population. Until changes are made, he keeps a drawer full of paperwork in his office, ready in case of a lawsuit.
I've worked with every person I know of to change what's going on here. So when the lawsuit rolls around, I will defer to the people that I've tried to work with.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brozier.
Now, some counties are facing lawsuits because of jail overcrowding, including Vigo County. The sheriff there says the solution is a new jail. The county council was supposed to vote on a proposal this week that would increase the local income tax to pay for the facility, but council members were confused about which version of the proposal they were being asked to vote on. So instead of voting, they decided to table the issue.
Could we have an explanation as to why we have a discrepancy this evening? Is it from what is published in the newspaper, or is there, because what was read is not what we were presented.
It's not clear when the council will revisit the issue. A vote has not been scheduled, and next week we'll tell you about another issue impacting county jails, Indiana's bail bond system. Bloomington's life sciences industry is growing. Cook Group announced this week it's selling its Cook Pharmica to international drug company Catalent. But that's not the only news from Cook Group. The company also announced plans to buy the abandoned General Electric plant in Bloomington. Lindsay Wright joins us now with more.
Thanks, Joe. The news that New Jersey-based Catalent is taking over Cook Pharmica means Bloomington will become the home of 3 major life sciences organizations. Cook Group officials say the decision to sell Cook Pharmica to Catalent, as well as plans to buy the former GE plant, will allow for local growth.
Cook Group is selling Cook Pharmica for $950 million. Catalent, the drug company making the purchase, employs about 10,000 employees worldwide. Catalent officials say the move will allow them to aggressively grow the business.
The acquisition is a recognition of the hard work, dedication, and community spirit of the team who helped Cook Pharmica grow, and of the Bloomington area, which has been and will continue to be an excellent home for this fast-growing business.
Cook Pharmica has 750 workers. Catalent says they will all keep their jobs. Cook Group says its company could create at least 500 jobs over the next decade as it grows its manufacturing business on the former GE site. The factory on Bloomington's west side closed last year.
This now gives us options to be able to purpose-build facilities and space so that we can sort of take the next leap into the future of manufacturing.
Yonkman says the $6.5 million deal will nearly double Cook's footprint and give the company room to expand. Bloomington and Monroe County have worked closely with Cook to facilitate the purchase. Mayor John Hamilton says the company is a major driver of the city's economy.
If you think about it also, Cook will have taken the RCA plant, which closed, and the GE plant, which closed, and turned them back into productive manufacturing facilities, which is an unusual story for a city, but very powerful and good.
Catalent's acquisition of Cook Pharmica, as well as Cook Group's purchase of the GE plant, are expected to be finalized by the end of the year. Joe?
All right, thank you very much, Lindsay. Ginseng root grows wild in Indiana's woodlands and forest, but it's a commodity that can fetch anywhere from $300 to $600 a pound. As Tyler Lake reports, some people are trespassing on private property to steal ginseng and cash in on its high market value.
It's illegal to dig up ginseng from state or federal ground, and anyone caught doing so will be charged with theft. You can harvest it on private ground, but must get permission.
People are stealing ginseng from other private properties. We see a lot of trespass, hunting without consent. People are being dropped off, being very stealthy about it, to go out onto their properties to dig that ginseng, pocket the root, and then they'll get picked back up and taken into town to sell it.
Indiana Conservation Officer Lieutenant Angela Goldman says the value of ginseng is increasing, and as a result, trespassing to harvest it is also on the rise. Officers use dogs to help seek out trespassers stealing ginseng.
As conservation officers, we have a canine program. They're not bomb dogs or drug dogs. They're natural resource dogs. So they're trained to alert on game, fish and game, and ginseng.
Goldman says the increase in people harvesting the plant is putting it at risk.
The reason ginseng is now protected is because it's been over-harvested. And that's why we put laws in place that say you can't harvest on state and federal property. We're trying to preserve the plant in those areas.
She says they can't make a similar law about private property, but what they're trying to do is raise awareness among property owners to alert conservation officers when they see trespassers on their property. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Tyler Lake.
Recently, a southern Indiana landowner noticed two men with shovels being dropped off alongside the road and heading off into the woods. He alerted police, who were able to catch the men before they were able to sell the ginseng they'd illegally harvested. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk, how will the new Republican health care proposal impact Hoosiers? And a longtime Star Wars fan is paying tribute to Carrie Fisher. How you can see this for yourself. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
We are a nation of explorers. We seek new ways of living, of thinking, and of expressing ourselves. We take risks, we learn from experience, and we keep moving forward. That's why we encourage and celebrate the explorer in all of us.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, much more news to get to. Barbara Brozier joins us now for headlines. She has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. Republicans are proposing another plan to replace the Affordable Care Act. The new legislation would, by some estimates, cause nearly 500,000 Hoosiers to lose their health care coverage and cut off hundreds of millions in federal funds to the state. The proposal would let states allow insurance companies to charge more to people with pre-existing conditions and impose lifetime coverage caps. Democratic Senator Joe Donnelly says he won't support the plan, while his Republican counterpart Todd Young hasn't announced how he'll vote. The renewed push comes ahead of a September 30th deadline, after which Republicans will need more than a simple majority to advance such legislation. The New York Times is reporting that Senator John McCain says he won't support the bill. The state is funneling $150 million to local communities for infrastructure projects. The grants come from the Community Crossings program. Counties and cities pay half of the cost of a project, and the state matches that amount. The state received nearly 50% more applications this year. That means a lot of communities didn't get the full amount they requested. For example, Monroe County applied for $1 million, but received less than a third of that. A legislative study committee is considering new regulations for confined animal feeding operations, or CAFOs. About 100 people showed up to testify before the committee this week, and most of them were against the operations.
I support Indiana agriculture. I'm a proud farmer. CAFOs are good if they're managed correctly and regulated correctly and located correctly. And as we go down this path, I would recommend that we do not loosen CAFO regulations, but make them fair for CAFO operators and citizens.
But we had 1 week to try to stop this, and there was no way we can do it. I would hope that some laws can be strengthened to help people to give their side of the story as to the effect it can have on their lives.
The committee is scheduled to meet once more next month before lawmakers begin work to prepare a report for the General Assembly. Doping is a problem across a lot of sports. In long-distance running, the stakes are high as marathoners compete for prize money. The big races, think Boston, Chicago, LA, test elite athletes, and they're disqualified if they have drugs in their systems. What ends up happening in some cases is those runners start competing in smaller races where organizers can't afford the high cost of drug tests. As Tyler Lake reports, the Mill Race Marathon is this weekend in Columbus, and organizers there can't afford the drug tests, but they're taking other measures to make sure athletes using performance-enhancing drugs don't walk away with prize money.
Even though the Mill Race Marathon will have nearly 4,000 runners this year, the event isn't large enough to afford costly drug testing. So, they adopted rules used by the Monumental Marathon in Indianapolis. Race director Randy Stafford says it can cost $1,000 to $1,500 per runner to do drug screening.
Since we don't have the ability to actually do drug testing, the best we can do is look at the patterns of behavior.
He says that after the race, they check the qualifying runners and their coaches to see if they are on sanctions lists. Runners end up on sanctions lists for being found with drugs in their system that are on the World Anti-Doping Agency's prohibited substance list. They also look at other athletes a coach is working with to see if they are on the lists. That's what happened when they first put the rules in place last year. 2 runners were disqualified because their coach was working with athletes under drug sanctions.
They were both second place in one in the half marathon, one in the marathon.
Stafford says the rules apply to any runner competing for a cash reward. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Tyler Lake.
Temperatures are expected to soar into the 80s during tomorrow's marathon. Race officials are urging runners to use caution, and even if they're registered for the full marathon, to consider stopping at the half if they're on pace to finish in more than 4 hours. Some East Chicago residents are worried about plans to demolish a lead-contaminated housing complex. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development gave the East Chicago Housing Authority $4 million yesterday to tear down the West Calumet housing complex. It's the most contaminated area of the toxic waste cleanup site. But many former and nearby residents worry demolition will cause the contamination to spread. Once the buildings come down, the EPA will be able to remediate the area. Indiana's multi-billion-dollar medical device industry has been pressuring Congress to pass a permanent repeal of the medical device tax for years. And a Republican congressman says it could finally happen. Republican Congressman Luke Messer, who is running for Senate, says he thinks a repeal could be successful as part of a tax reform bill. Congress passed a 2-year suspension of the tax in 2015, but efforts to permanently do away with it have been inserted into failed bills.
And our best near-term likely chance to do that is going to be through a broader tax package that drops corporate rates for job creators, drops business rates so that employers have more money to hire folks and increase wages, and then reduces rates for every working American so they can get a tax cut too.
Both Messer and one of his opponents in the Senate race, Republican Representative Todd Rokita, voted in favor of the failed American Health Care Act, which included a repeal of the tax. The woman selected to replace Jerome Adams as the state's health commissioner didn't have political aspirations. Dr. Christina Box has been an OB/GYN with the Community Health Network for more than 30 years. Box starts in her new role next month. The governor says her priorities will be curbing the state's infant mortality rate and reducing the impact of the opioid crisis. Adams left the position to become President Donald Trump's Surgeon General. Indiana's Secretary of State is touting a new program that focuses on helping Hoosiers improve their financial literacy. Connie Lawson met with the community members in Bloomington this week for a briefing on how to recognize and avoid investment fraud. The meeting was part of the Secretary's program called Indiana MoneyWise.
Some people lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some people just learned a lesson.
Lawson says every year scams cost people about $40 billion. And it's that time of year. The Brown County Leaf Camera is back, folks. County officials say they installed a camera on top of a cabin at Bean Blossom Overlook this year, which should offer a better panorama. It allows viewers on the web to watch time-lapse video of the changing leaves. Word from state forestry officials, though, is that the recent dry spell could shorten and dim the state's fall foliage season. The brightest fall colors are produced by bright, warm days, cool nights, and moist soils. While the entire state has enjoyed bright, warm days, there hasn't been a lot of rain lately. The 61 bells in Indiana University's Carolyn Tower are about to sound for the final time before they're dismantled and moved to a new location on the Bloomington campus. The performance of the IU Met's Carolyn is scheduled for 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on the northeast side of campus, where the tower was built in 1970. IU plans on building a new tower in the center of campus. And Joe, you're one of the few people who's enjoyed that from up in the tower.
Oh, the view is amazing. It's built on one of the highest points of campus. But don't forget, there's a football game tomorrow at 3:32, so if you're going to get there at 4, you might want to leave a little earlier.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Barbara. The Linemen Rodeo brings out the competitive spirit among the people who on a daily basis work to make sure you have power to your home. Workers race up poles, simulate rescues, and repair damage. On the line, bragging rights. Dozens of linemen participated in this year's annual competition in Mishawaka.
Most of the events replicate things that the linemen do on a daily basis. This is one of the first years that every single event is something that they do on a daily or weekly or monthly basis.
It's the 7th year, so we actually laid out a heptagon. If you see it from the air, it's actually 7 sides for the 7th year. And we have 7 events, so we tried to tie all that in.
We build a little bit of fun into it. We time them and we have infractions for it. Hurt man rescue is something that they have to be able to perform.
With what we deal with up there, I mean, we always have to be focused on our work, and even when we're tired in storms, we can work up to 16 hours straight. We just got to push through it.
Most of the competitors, while yes, they want to compete and they want to win, but they want to learn and see how other people do things too, because they can take that back to their community and enhance their efficiency and benefit their utilities that way.
Linemen by nature are competitive, but it's the meeting everyone, sharing stories of storm work and on-the-job stuff is what is really the best thing about these rodeos.
All of our line workers have to work together at certain points. We've got crews in Florida right now at Hurricane Irma. They work all hours of the night, all kinds of weather, and this is just a way of showcasing what their skills are to the public and let them have a little bit of fun.
3 teams and several apprentices weren't able to participate in the competition because they're in Gainesville, Florida, working to restore power to neighborhoods devastated by Hurricane Irma. These kinds of rodeos happen across the country, and those who win top honors at local competitions advance to an international competition that's been around since the 1980s and continues to grow each year. The Good Catholic made its Indiana premiere in the very city where it was filmed this week. As Barbara Brozier reports, there are several screenings throughout the state this month.
Hundreds of people made their way into the Buzzcocks Chumley Theater in Bloomington to watch the story of Father Daniel, a priest whose life changes when he meets a local singer named Jane. Several members of the cast and crew have ties to the community, including Zachary Spicer, who stars as Daniel. Spicer is a graduate of Indiana University and says shooting The Good Catholic in Bloomington makes the project special.
You have an entire community that comes out and supports you in a way that is impossible in any kind of big city like New York or Los Angeles.
Local businesses and residents also got the opportunity to play their part in the film. Several people at the premiere spent a day working as extras on set.
It was exciting. I mean, it's my debut of being in a movie, so.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brozier.
And a southern Indiana farm is paying tribute to the late Carrie Fisher, who's well known for playing Princess Leia in Star Wars. Global Farms in Evansville has been creating corn mazes for more than a decade and decided this year's design would depict Fisher's most famous role.
I chose Carrie Fisher because I've been a Star Wars fan all my life, and because she passed in December, I just thought it was appropriate to do a tribute to her.
Global makes the design for the maze on a computer, then uploads it to his corn planter, which then drops seed to create the image. The maze is open through Halloween. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers, now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching and learning in Indiana and around the world. More at education.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. And by WTIU members, thank you.